Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell. You know what time it is. It is 8 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning. My favorite time of the week, hanging out here with my partner, Mark Hunter. It is time for Sales Logic.
It sure is. Hey, we got a great show. We're going to be talking about speed, value, or personalization. What do your customers really want? Hey, is that a trick question or what?
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. And we got a great lightning round because we're going to talk about the top 10 skills every salesperson is going to need to be successful next year. Great show.
Awesome. All right. Once again, 8 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning, time for a Sales Logic. Now, before Mark dives into everything, I always like to tell you this show is about you. So if you've got a question, if you've got a topic that you want us to cover, something that's going to help you sell more effectively, just go to saleslogicpodcast.com. We'll feature you right here. So Mark, let's dive in.
Okay, dive in. Speed, value, or personalization? Put your hand on the buzzer. Which one do you think customers really want? I mean, stop and think about that. I'm gonna jump in here and say I think it's all three. I think it is truly a trick question because there's no way that customers don't want to have their needs taken care of quickly. There's no reason to think that they don't want great value, and there's no reason to think they don't want personalization unless it's a totally an online transaction. I don't know. Thoughts?
Do you think there's one you lead with more than the other?
I think we have to lead with personalization. I mean, that's firmly what I believe, because otherwise we really could be totally done by way of a bot. And in this AI world, we're seeing that more and more. Now, there are transactions that I do want to complete where I don't want personalization. I just want to complete the transaction. If I'm making an airline reservation, if I'm doing whatever, I don't need personalization on that. So I think to a certain degree, sometimes that doesn't come into play. But by and large, B2B, we pretty much talk to a B2B audience. Personalization is key.
You know, Mark, I think because I tell you, when I'm making an airline reservation, personalization does matter to me. So maybe we need to define personalization in the sense that nothing irritates the fire out of me more than my airline not remembering things about me. And the more they can pre-fill, the more they can take care of, the more they say, we know you, Meridith Elliott Powell, and we understand you, the easier they make my life. So let's kind of start there. I mean, what do we mean by personalization?
Well, see, I'm going to back up a little bit because I want my airline to know when I go in, book a flight on American, I want to know. But that's table stakes. To me, that is table stakes. Personalization to me is when I can see that there's a level of empathy that person has towards me. I see that there's a level of true, authentic communication that is happening with me. That's what I feel is personalization. I don't need to get creepy crawly. Oh, tell me about your life since grade school. No, I don't want that. I don't want to hear that from another person. But I do want to have a sense that they're connecting with me human to human.
Yeah, I feel like personalization means that you understand me, and understanding me means you understand how busy I am, how much I have going on, what I do for a living, and the impact that the work that I do. And your connection with me is about helping me further accomplish my goals. And so, like, we take the airline example, is that the very fact that when I go on, they pre-populate almost everything that I've got tells me that they understand how busy I am and don't expect me to redo all this information every single time.
Yeah, but see, to me, I consider that as table stakes. Now, so this is kind of interesting because what this means is that our expectations as consumers, our expectations as customers are dramatically increasing because 15 or 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, we would not have had that. We would not have had. I mean, right now you go in and make a reservation and it gives you the seat, your preferred seat assignment, right? It just automatically populates it if that seat's available. And I like that. 10 years ago, that probably did not happen. So that's a degree of personalization that they know me. And I'm flipping it around and saying, what's the personalization from the person I am dealing with? Quick example. I'm talking with the CEO yesterday of a Minneapolis company. I'd never talked to him again. It was an inbound inquiry. We set up a time to talk. We converse. At the end of the call, you probably would not know this, but Thursday night, Green Bay Packers played Detroit Lions. And Green Bay is the nemesis to the Minnesota Vikings. So I asked him, I said, hey, I don't know if you're into football or not, but how are Viking fans taking that game last night? And he laughed his head off. And we talked for several minutes at the end of the call about the Vikings and the Packers, et cetera, et cetera. Personalization, without a doubt. Did I do that at the beginning of the call? No, I did it only at the end of the call when the call had gone successful. We arranged the next meeting. Things were very comfortable. So it was a natural way to take the relationship a little further.
Yeah, and I think it's very, very important in today's marketplace to have done your research so that you can personalize. I had a call yesterday with a CEO, and I spent quite a bit of time, even though I had done the research. The person that I was dealing with, that I made the proposal with, was not the CEO, but the CEO wanted to talk to me, and I spent quite a bit of time doing the research. Partly on him, but even more so on the company, to go really detailed to talk about what I could provide beyond the proposal that would bring value, but would also very much differentiate me from any competitor. And in my opinion, that is personalization. I feel too often that we limit personalization to knowing a couple of things about people. But to me, personalization is personalization that says, I understand the specific problems you have, and I can solve those problems.
See, that's personalization to the solution to the challenge at hand, which is absolutely key. Hey, I got to do a quick note here to Bill Snow. He says, way to promote the Packers, Mark. Yeah, but you know what? I wanted Detroit to win that game so bad. It's time for Detroit. Anyway, hey, see, this is the thing. Personalization takes on several different levels. Personalization takes on, do you understand the needs of the customer? Do you understand them? And can you craft your solution to fit them? That's exactly what you were doing. Personalization also takes on is, are you demonstrating a level of empathy and just understanding? And are you connecting human to human? That was the example I was sharing with the CEO I was talking to. See, both personalizations are absolutely key. The one you were talking about, absolutely essential on every sales call. The one I was talking about, it's not critical. And for some people, they're going to get turned off by it, right? I mean, you don't like it when people pry. I don't like it when people pry in deep on me. No. I mean, I'm an open individual, but I got boundaries, period. Yeah, period.
I don't like it because you're wasting my time, which is part of the personalization. It's understanding, it's understanding what's important to the customer. Some people like to have a conversation and tell you about their life and things like that, but you got to pick that up pretty quickly as to the type of, as the type of individual that they are. I love what Dave is saying here. With AI so prevalent, I believe that personalization, or what I call the real AI, stands out, that your potential client is important and significant. Great comment. And John Register is saying, what do you study when you research? John, such a good question. Personalization to me in the first couple of calls is, I need to deeply and intimately understand the industry, not what is happening in the industry. That's part of it, but more what is predicted in the industry, because I think personalization is being one step ahead of the customer. I'll give you a great example. A couple of weeks ago, when Asheville finally got water back, my husband and I went out to dinner, and it has been forever since I have been able to have an iced tea in a restaurant in Asheville because we had no water. And we went to a place we go on occasion. We don't go there very often. And I ordered an iced tea. Now, anybody who knows me knows I drink a lot. Like, if you put water in front of me, I'm going to drink 4 glasses during dinner. You put iced tea in front of me, I'm going to down 3 before dinner is over. And the waiter, who'd waited on us a little bit, showed up with not only my iced tea, but then he brought my own little, picture or whatever. And for me to allow to redo it myself, he was one step ahead of me. I would have asked him to refill it, but he knew me. I can't tell you the emotional shift of that. So John, to me, doing the research is thinking about how can you make sure the person that you're calling on understands that you're not only did your homework, that's 1985. It's that you not only did your homework, but you understand and you're one step ahead and you're the resource they need to solve that problem.
Okay, I love that example because what that waitstaff person was doing was not only personalizing, but creating value and speed.
Yeah.
Right?
But
They were able, and when we personalize, when we understand, again, this whole thing, if we go into any call without doing some review of the industry, understand the industry. And this is, again, is what AI can do for us. I mean, whatever tool you use, whether you use Bard, whether you use Gemini, Copilot, Chat, it allows you to get industry information. And like you said, I want to understand where the industry's going. What are the challenges? And again, AI can help you with that. Though that is very quickly, in my book, becoming table stakes. If we don't do that, shame on us. And that allows us to speed the conversation, and it allows us to create more value with the person we're speaking to because we're coming across to them at their level.
I've really got to call out what Thomas is saying here. Personalization is the way that I can tell whether I'm talking with AI instead of a real person. I love this comment because I was working with one of my team members who happens to work with another speaker, and the other speaker has a brand new CRM. And on that CRM, they're using a lot of AI. Like AI can create the scripts, it can do all those types of things. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. Like when I work with this team member, I want she and I both reaching out to have conversations with people. I don't want any AI scripting anything, because as amazing as it is, it doesn't replace the power of the salesperson. And the power of the salesperson is creating that authentic connection, that authentic connection and relationship. John registered, just because you're asking, it's unsweetened tea. So
I love it. I love it. Of course, it's going to be unsweetened tea.
Yeah.
You won't put any sugar into your body at all.
That's right.
Hey, here's the situation. See, people default to AI because they think it's the way to deliver speed. And that's the wrong way, because again, AI is a great starting tool. We've talked about this before. It's a great starting tool. It is not a finishing tool. My feeling is this: because of this whole advent of AI exploding on the scene, and just because you can send out 1,000 emails, 10,000 emails doesn't mean you should. I think we're actually going to find ourselves going in reverse, in that we're going to have deeper conversations with actually fewer people, because we're able to personalize it better, because we understand their business, understand the marketplace, understand their needs better. And we're going to be able to, as a result, create more value. And it's actually going to allow us to move faster. But it's going to be an inverse in the numbers, from mass to much tighter amount of people.
Yeah. John is asking a great question here. How can you make sure the person understands that you did your homework and you are one step ahead? First of all, don't worry about that. Just because the energy that you put off in the call, because you're going to come off so confident. The second is that it's in the questions that you ask. They're a smarter set of questions. Like, instead of asking Mark, what keeps you up at night? What are you worried about? I would say something to Mark like, we've been working quite a bit in this industry in the last year, and we have found that the top 3 issues are this: the most significant, the biggest priority being this going forward. I was using that with the CEO I was talking with yesterday. He certainly has a load of challenges on his plate, but from what I understand in his industry, his biggest prevention from getting to the level he wants to is the particular issue I wanted to talk to. So that's a whole different type of question, rather than, just going from you tell me what's going on in your industry. You're funneling it down. And when you do the homework, you get curious about certain things, and those certain things position you as an expert in the field.
See, this is what's critical, because our questions, you're right. What keeps you up at night? That was an 80s question. because information is so prevalent, we need to be far more specific. I'm going to go back to this CEO that I was talking to yesterday, CEO of a major construction company in the Minneapolis area. And we were talking about the winter season and when really come November 1st, the ground freezes up. You can't get in the ground. And I, because of my background, because of my experience, I have lived in Minneapolis, so I know the area, but I understand the industry because I worked in it. I was able to direct some pretty specific questions to him. And I could tell that he was liking that. And we were able to, this is what's key. You've got to come into any conversation with a degree of knowledge and be comfortable. And this is why you got to stay in your ICP, your ideal customer profile. You got to stay in that sweet space, because otherwise what happens is you're going to get into areas that you just don't know anything about. That's going to reveal itself then you're going to have no value. You're going to have no speed, no personalization.
Yeah, and Natalie's making such a great point here. You got to know the organization, they're in growth mode, downsizing, what divisions are succeeding, where's the opportunity. So incredibly important, because even though you understand a lot of things about the industry, it may not be specifically true for the customer that you're dealing with. And that is okay. Like sometimes there are just things you can't find out until you talk to the prospect. But going in from a position of expertise and knowing that you did the research and the homework makes you such a better interviewer, not because you're trying to be a better interviewer, but because at this point, like I said, I go in and I do the research. I'm really curious. I want to know, are these things true for this particular vendor? Mark, Bryn Tillman's got 3 levels of personalization here.
I love this. She's saying, hey, tailored to the role, industry, typical challenges. 2, tailor the information you uncover through LinkedIn, website, and research. And 3, personalized introductions from clients you know and the person who may need your solution. I love that. You see, when we talk about personalization, there's so many different levels, so many different areas we can go. In fact, this is we got to get to the question, because the question this week comes from Reno, Nevada, Lenora. She says, I work in an industry where customers are very price sensitive and we're not the cheapest. She says, I need to connect and sell value. My customers seem to want it all. What tools can I use to help me spend more time customer facing? Oh, I love Lenora, because she's saying I got to be customer facing. Totally agree. What can I automate, use, or invest my time to help speed up the sales process? See, this is where AI comes into play, but we can't chase a shiny object on trying to do every tool out there, because we'll wind up going nowhere. My answer to Lenora is you got to stay in. The more you can personalize on their needs, and it's not about a mass of customers, it's about a tight group of customers that you're focused on helping with. I don't know, thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think with what Lenora is talking about is every single salesperson should be asking themselves that question. What can I do to be more customer facing? Because in the age of heavy competition, shifting marketplaces, those types of things, your value, the highest value of a customer, of a salesperson, is to be customer facing. So I think one of the most important tools that you can use is your CRM, and really keeping that CRM updated, and the research, and being really honest with yourself about pipeline. I was working on my CRM this morning, and I threw about 5 leads out of it. And the reason I threw them out of it is I've been playing with this. I've been playing with them forever. Now, would they hire me one day? Maybe. But is this a good use of my time? No, because I am chasing a lead that never, ever responds. So I think one of the most important things that you can do, as Mark said, be really clear on that ideal customer profile, and then be very, very, very diligent about your CRM. And you're inside a company. You don't have a luxury that Mark and I have. But so you may be, I would get very intimate with the marketing department, and what can they do to help you build your reputation? That's not legwork you've got to do. But if they can have heard of you beforehand, then getting through the door is going to be so much easier.
That is so key, because there's so many things. I mean, if you think about that, your reputation arrives before you do. I've talked about that numerous times, but it is so critical in this era, because just as we're researching the customer, guess what? The customer's researching us. before they choose to do work with us. But I'll tell you what, Lenora, this is a question you've got to stay in just tight. You threw out some leads. I had one yesterday, or an association wanted me to speak there, and they'd sent me like 3-4 notes, and I got to get this done. And I came to the conclusion, you know what? It doesn't fit my ICP.
Yeah.
It does not fit. And you know what I can bring to them? My solution isn't going to really fit them. Forget it. Threw them out the window. That's it. I turned them over to somebody else who could provide them. This is what's key. We personalize when we stay focused. Don't be trying to stay broad.
I would also say if you work in a market that is price sensitive, which a lot of us work in markets that are price sensitive, value, personalization, and speed are how you're going to get price off the table. Mark said this at the beginning. Everybody is price sensitive to certain things, but everybody spends money on what other people think is ridiculous. I mean, one of my favorite sayings is, my husband's biggest fear is that I will sell his boat for what he told me he paid for it. But he thinks I get my hair cut for about $70. And neither one of those is true. Now, he would never pay what I pay to get his hair cut. I would never pay what he pays for a boat. Value is in the eye of the beholder, but you have to sell value, whether people ask you for the value or not. Even if people are price sensitive, you have to say, this is the price, but this is everything that you are getting for that price.
And that's so key, because value is in the eyes of the beholder. It's not what you think it is. And that perfect example, the boat. I mean, there are so many comments that are coming in. It is unbelievable. Bryn comes in and says, having a framework and basic, clear process templates can be tailored with AI. You're right. This is how you use automation. But again, it only works if you stay tight with your ICP and you really understand your sales process. Wow, time is like flying by. We've got to get to the book. I mean, we're at 21 minutes already.
I know. I do want to just answer John's question really quick. He said, he says the question is, what are the challenges and opportunities you see? These are the question he's asking. Yeah, exactly, John. John is currently asking his prospects, what are the questions? What are the biggest challenges you see in 2025? He needs to be one step ahead by saying, I work quite a bit in your industry. These are the challenges we're seeing. Either which one of these is most important to you, or are those the challenges that you're facing too? And then you can position yourself as a resource. So sorry, I just wanted to answer that.
No,
John, let's jump into the book.
It's great. John and I had this conversation when we were together a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta about this is the time of year to be calling your customers and just thanking them for their business and beginning to understand what's happening next year. So many comments coming in.
Well, and we got to draw the attention to this one because Mark won't. Mark, apparently his ICP keynote at Outbound was just incredible this year. I got no doubts about that.
Well, Bryn rocked the stage also. Hey, okay, are ready for the book. The book comes from our good friend Lois Kramer. Book More Business. I mean, how easy a title can that be? Book More Business. I'm glad you're reaching for your copy. I can't get mine fast enough. That's right. Yeah. This is an excellent read, and it's not a difficult read. And
it is. She's got new content in here on sales, artificial intelligence, licensing, and more. It is a book for speakers, but it is not just a book for speakers. It is really, it's a great sales Bible, or however you want to describe it. I'm about halfway through it right now. I read her original publication on it, but this is just fantastic.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because it is updated with entirely new. And regardless of the profession you're in, there are insights, there's value that you're going to get from the book. Okay, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah.
Top 10 skills every salesperson will need in 2025. Go.
Every sales person is going to need the skill of networking.
2, you got to have your own AI agent, just like we have in Sales Logic Mastermind, where we have the Sales Logic brain. Every individual is going to have to create their own.
Yeah, I think everybody is going to need in 2025, they're going to need new and improved prospecting skills.
And I'm going to add to that, you're going to need tighter prospecting skills. It's not about having a big list. It's about having a tighter list that I can go deeper with.
Yeah, you're going to need to be very, very proficient at least at understanding, if not doing your own content marketing.
We don't know where the economic winds are going to go for next year. We don't know what's going to be happening. So you are going to have to be playing in at least 2 different industries. I'm always focused on just trying to get very tight, but you're going to have to play in 2 because you don't know from an economic standpoint what might happen.
Yeah, you're going to need the skill of storytelling. I think that is really something that is really coming to the forefront in sales. Probably always has been, but if you are not adept at storytelling, if you have not mastered this skill, you've got to really master it.
You've got to come out of the chute fast. January has to be an absolutely strong month because there's a lot of optimism out there. There's a lot of strength out there. Play it to your strength right now. Be booking those meetings for January.
Yeah, I guess we're about at number 9. I'm going to say adaptability and resilience is you're going to need to be more flexible and more resilient, because no matter what is in 2025, there's definitely going to be headwinds and there's going to be new opportunities, and you've got to be able to shift on a dime.
So then I'll say number 10, you got to join the Sales Logic Mastermind.
Oh, good one.
You join the mastermind, you're part of a great team. We've had a number of the members chiming in this morning, and that's been absolutely terrific. Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. Something we've said has earned you a single dollar. Consider telling a friend about our show, because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. Join us right back here next week for another episode of Sales Logic. We've got a fantastic set of questions going right through the holiday season. You do not want to miss these shows, because we are going to kick off strong in 2025. Think about joining the Sales Logic Mastermind if you want to take your business, your sales to the next level. We'll see you next week.